Hey guys, all right, this is Kelly, Southwest Blinds and Shutters here in Arizona. We're at the Scottsdale showroom. I wanted to show you some of the sheer shades that we have available. Some of you may have seen, this is called a banded shade. Banded shades are, they're also called allure. They're called transition shades. They're called zebra shades. There's another company that used to call them dual shades. So basically what they do, this one in particular, this one's a cordless lift. So what you do with this is you just grab the bottom rail and you can just lift it up. And so the cool part about this is that as you raise it up, you can transition it. So you have visibility through here, through the shade, and I'll put my hand back there so you can see. So you have visibility through the shears. One of the problems that you have with a roller shade in particular, it's a rolling product like this, is that it's either open or closed. So with a banded shade, you have the opportunity to raise and lower it, but still have visibility to whatever degree you want as you raise and lower it. If I contrast that with a silhouette, silhouette's kind of the classic shear. Silhouette's been around a long time. Hunter Douglas was kind of the main producer of the silhouette. Principle behind a silhouette is that the silhouette allows you to tilt the vane open and closed. So you have two layers of shear, one in the front, one in the back. Let me raise it up a bit, I'll show you what I'm talking about. So in here, you've got these two layers here. So one in the back, one in the front, and then you've got this vane that's also made of fabric there. The principle for that is it's also a rolling product, just like a roller shade or banded shade. And so what you're getting is that you get that ability to tilt it a little bit. The problem that you have with this shade is that as it's being raised, you can't transition it. So you don't have the ability to have a little bit more visibility, but still have some light control and privacy control with this. So this is always going to be like either open or closed, and so to one degree or another. The other problem that people typically have reported with this shade is that bugs will fly into the cell on the side and they'll kind of get trapped inside those shears and not be able to find their way out, and so they'll end up dying in there, and they typically stain the materials. That's kind of a tragedy there a little bit. So if you feel like you can't deal with the maintenance on something like this, then we usually tend to recommend going with something more like a banded shade. Those are the different options available to you. One of the things I wanted to say also, I do love silhouettes. I think they're beautiful. They diffuse the light nicely into the room. They just have this really elegant modern look to them. And they also pair well with drapery too. So you could make them as modern or as traditional as you'd like. One of the things that I want to show you here is what's called the Perfect Shear. The Perfect Shear is made by Norman, and theirs is basically very similar to the Silhouette. And so, but there's one distinct difference. So one of the things that they do is they do not have a scooped bottom rail. It's just like the bottom rail of a regular roller shade. Okay, and then you can see the end of the band right here. And then they also band the front, so you can see a nice face to the fabric, so it has a little bit more design value to it. And you can see the texture of the shear in the front. It's very nice. One of the challenges that silhouettes have is that they have more of a scooped bottom rail. And so the challenge with the scooped bottom rail is that it tends to prevent the shade from being able to close very tightly. And so you can see here, the back of that scoop is kind of pulling down on the back shear and preventing those veins from closing tightly. So on the Perfect Shear, let me see if we can demonstrate how this works. So because it's not a scooped bottom rail, and I'll stop that right there. So because it's not a scooped bottom rail, you can tell on the side how tightly that fits together. So that flap of sheer material on the back just lays nice and flat. So we don't get that gap between the front shear and the back shear. It just lays so nice and clean. And so it's a beautiful shade. Highly recommend it. I mean, it's got all the buttons. It looks great from the front. It functions properly. It diffuses light just like the Silhouette, but it also closes tighter than the Silhouette as it raises and lowers. Great option. Definitely recommend it.